Noun, ʻdɪvɪʻneɪʃ. The practice of seeking knowledge and clarity of the past, present, or future through spiritual means. Divination types can widely vary but are often sacred objects, elements of nature, or persons. Class equals glossary link greater than divination is very important. Many people have the gift, but competence is not among all of those gifted. There are some who are naturally gifted and there are others who are simply fascinated with spirituality or occultism. https://www.embracingspirituality.com/wp-content/uploads/2018/09/2-how-to-choose-a-spiritualist.m. For audio of this article, some go into studying whatever oracle they have access to, with tarot cards being the most popular, and they'll begin noun, the practice of seeking knowledge and clarity of the past, present, or future through spiritual means. Reading types can widely vary but are often sacred objects, elements of nature, or persons. Related, divination, class equals glossary link greater than reading people or themselves. What a lot of people do not know is that this can actually be dangerous because many spiritual doors are open during divinations, which can cause the emotionally vulnerable or those too eager with no spiritual strength, mental problems and more. A diviner must know what spirits he is working with, or the process can drive a person mad. I actually know one woman currently going through this. Now on to the spiritualist and how some work. The drunk diviner. Let us not neglect or forget the drunk diviner. Most often a person's spirit comes out when they drink alcohol. It's quite a bit to explain, but just know that there is a realm within noun, many realms and dimensions within the outer universe, class equals glossary link greater than time and space, where liquor and drugs operate through persons here on this planet, making them more receptive and open to spiritual messages. I had a friend named Millie who was an excellent diviner. She was a Spanish woman who ran a botanica that was very popular. There would be hundreds of people lined up outside waiting to be read by her. Her readings only lasted about 5 to 10 minutes, but she was always very accurate. I, however, was her diviner. I loved her. One day, she told me an interesting story about her own unintentional, drunk divination. She and her friends had gathered on the stoop of her building. They were all drinking and having a good time in the summer. The landlord of their building came out and harassed them for sitting on the stoop. While her friends matched words with the landlord, Millie laughed drunkenly and waved a dismissive hand to her friends. "Leave him alone, by tomorrow he'll be dead," she said nonchalantly. Millie said that by the next morning, they awoke to the sound of an ambulance. The landlord who lived in the basement had a heart attack 6 a.m. that morning, and had later died. There is a peculiar thing that happens to some people when they are under the influence, most especially of alcohol. If you are ever privy to a traditional ritual involving sacrifice or even divination, you will see that alcohol is always present. It matters not the culture. In Jamaica, we call alcohol spirit, and there is a reason why in Jamaica when we keep 9 nights, a celebration kept 9 nights after a person has died, the Dranko Batty, raw white rum, moonshine style, is present, but I won't get into that now. In any spiritual setting, the more the person drinks liquor, and not just any liquor, is the more they are capable of pulling noun, a spirit or being without physical form, class equals glossary link greater than non-physical energies and entities to them, and when they are open they will be able to pass messages along at times through hallucinations. The sleeping prophet. There are also the sleeping prophets. These are ones who can see, spiritually, but can only do so if they sleep or fall into a trance. Edgar Cayce is known for this while he lived in this world. There was a woman who had become an enemy to me, and this was how she divined for people. You would sit before her waiting for your divination, and she would literally fall asleep, snoring and all. She was a large woman, and she would sit in what I remember being something like a rocking chair. And in between snores she would jump up and say what she saw. I have become into my own now, as an experienced spiritualist, from those days of spiritual youth, so I now understand the way her gift works, although back then it was funny as hell to me. The yawning spirit. This is also hilarious to me, and it is something that sometimes happens to me as well. Note, you might notice I'll say, I also have this gift, often. This is because I am a spiritual teacher, one of my purposes on earth, so I have the gift of almost everyone, in order to teach. When noun, a spiritual celestial church which is found in Jamaica and throughout the Caribbean, where the members worship like a regular church but there is a spiritual element added to it, such as prophecy, oracles, drumming, and the burning of candles. Here are some helpful posts on Zion for further understanding. Feel the energy of the spirits. Cross cultures, spiritual similarities, veneration, and worship. Class equals glossary link greater than Zion. Revival spirits come close to me and wants to pass on a message. They will pass through my body and I will yawn loudly and end the yawn with an echo or shrill. Very embarrassing, I might add. There are also those who yawn like an opera. As funny as it may sound, it is a spiritual yawn. I once had a friend named Lillian. She used to yawn this sort of yawn while we were in spiritual church together. Her yawn sounded like Luciano Pavarotti in high note. I used to laugh at her as I thought she was pretending. Until one day, that yawning spirit took me over in church, 6 times to be exact, 2 minutes in between each. I sounded like Lillian to my great dismay. I was actually very embarrassed because I had no control over this market woman yawn. Don't forget that I was a dance girl, but what I realized is that with each yawn, came a new revelation to my mind. Now, as I am writing this post, I see the yawn as a clarion call, almost like whatever is coming out of the realms is sounding a clarion through my body. I don't know about other cultures, but I know for sure that in the Zion Revival Church you will certainly find the yawning diviner. All Zion Revival goers come and attest to this. For those who are on a path of spirituality, after reading this, watch your yawns. Is it longer than necessary? Oddly outrageous? Are many of them back to back? If this happens, know that the yawning spirit is passing through with a message. The angry diviner. There are even diviners whose power of divination comes out when they get cross, miserable and angry. Big up you self, bounty killer. I also fall into this category. When am I had tech mi and revelation real out with to Claude. For those who know me personally, especially before the start of embracing spirituality, when I become suddenly angry, they will become alert and allow me to speak because my words do not fall to the ground. Yes, people, spirit, or revelations can come through temper. These are some of the revelations that should never be taken lightly because the anger will often bring forth warnings. Also, know when these kinds of spiritualists become unexplainably angry, know that it is coming from their solar plexus. Something stirs in this region that brings out light and instead of a yawn like the yawning spirit, this person becomes very angry. The person will say something through their temper that will seem like lightning. These are the kinds of messages that manifest almost immediately. When a spiritualist becomes extremely angry suddenly, the message he will bring forth will be a warning of something terrible to come. Some spirits don't linger on the earth, so when they pass through, they'll pass through like a raging fire. Or when the spirit sees that something terrible is impending, when they want you to react and react quickly, they will often cause the spiritualist to become enraged. Another reason for the anger is if the spirit itself picks up on a person's secret misdeeds, it will cause the spiritualist to react to the person with impatience and irritation. Even the spiritualist may not understand the reason for his annoyance. This is one of the reasons for my own short temper and even shorter patience, something many people do not understand and are often offended by, and have even hated me for. The gentle diviner. This is the diviner that most often uses himself as an oracle, or he may use an oracle itself. He is quiet, unassuming, always seems to be far in thought even when divining for you. This type of diviner sees very far, because he is always in a meditative state, and even though he is quiet and unassuming, he is very strong. People who have this kind of posture and character, a quiet strength, are those that works with the spirits of old prophets, or these are the ones who work with non-physical beings who have never been to earth. Never judge a book by its cover. I can go on, but there are many types of diviners and how spirits will communicate with them. However, it is important to know how to choose the right spiritualist for you. How to choose a competent spiritualist for you. It's not an easy thing, because as you can see, there are many types of spiritualists out there. Some of them may have messages for you, but not know all of your book, destiny book. Some are able to tell you a line or a sentence about your future, past, or present. Some are just Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles and can't see anything at all. While others are very quick-sighted, able to see correctly your plight and problems, but not able to help you solve them. This is because not every reader is a practitioner. He can accurately help you know your problems, but he cannot help you solve them. So as you can see, finding a spiritualist for you is like searching for a needle in the haystack. Since Miss Cleo days, many people are very worried that they may find spiritualists who are fraudsters or not gifted. There are fraudsters in every walks of life, from a spiritualist to banker. But do not concern yourself with any of this. What I am about to tell you will negate from your mind all of your unnecessary worries if you are able to trust what I am saying. The best way to find the competent spiritualist is to trust your head. You do not find the spiritualist, you are led to him or her by your own noun. Ori is a Yoruba concept of one's inner consciousness. Ori literally translates to head in Yoruba. It is also considered to be a divinity, the one that leads and guides you throughout your life. It is possible to come to Earth with either a very strong Ori, head, or a very weak Ori, class equals, glossary link, greater than Ori, your head, your inner consciousness, your highest divinity. The Yorubas have a proverb that they will include in some prayers, and I will paraphrase it: as the fish uses its head to guide it through the murky waters, so shall your head lead you to a good place in life. Finding a spiritualist for you has to do with not only the competence of the diviner, which is important, but equally important is the compatibility of your spirit and the spirit of the diviner. One of the things that can create a big problem between the diviner and the seeker is ego. Neither one of you should have it. The spiritualist especially must never have ego. And the seeker must leave his or her ego at the door. Anyone you hear saying, "I am the best," "No one can divine like me," etc. There is a difference between ego and a person who has confidence. If a person speaks highly of themselves when it comes to spirituality and what they can do, in their own self-praise that sounds too egotistical, this is a sign you should probably leave this person alone. But again, go with your Ori, your head, inner consciousness. Because this also just might be the spiritualist's character and he or she may really be good at what they do but just can't help praising himself, and that's okay. Leos, can I get an amen? Also, for the skeptic seekers, the ones who decide to go ahead with a reading but get there with judgment in mind, criticism, doubt or worries, or condemnation, people like this have already blocked themselves and have also offended whatever non-physical that may be working with a spiritualist to deliver the messages. Also, never go to a spiritualist expecting them to tell you what you came to hear. The spirits will prioritize what is important for you to hear now, as whatever they tell you is what needs your immediate attention. A good spiritualist does not create confusion by telling you your sister Marcia's boyfriend is dating her best friend, or that your boss is cheating on his wife. Good spiritualists do not create confusion. They will tell you the problem, tell you the solution, if they are able to, and do it all in such a way that no one is violated and no one's life is placed in danger. However, there are some spiritualists that will ask you to tell them what you would like to focus on before they begin the reading. I personally don't like this method of reading. I like to leave everything up to the messengers that are coming through, and at the end of the reading I will ask if you have any questions. Always remember that every reader, every divination, is seeing something out of your destiny book. Call it Akashic record, call it noun, Oduu. From the Yoruba tradition, on the one hand, Odu is a deity. She was the most loved wife of Orunmila, god of wisdom and divination. On the other hand, Odu is a live energy. It refers to the coded language that appears when IFA is cast. There are 256 otis with 16 major otis, recognizable by the word meji in their names. There are 240 permutations of ODU. For easier understanding, otis are one's book of destiny or Akashic record. An ODU is marked by a trained babalawo in a series of markings, strokes marked from right to left. The markings form the insignia of the ODU. Upon completion, there will be 4 series of strokes on the right from top to bottom and same on the left. Each pattern has a name, or ODU. For example, Obara Meji is an ODU which sits in 7th place, as ODU place are unalterable. Here are some helpful posts for further understanding of ODU, the story of Valor and Ika, class equals glossary link greater than ODU, whatever you want to call it. Every time you get a reading, a page of your destiny book is revealed to the diviner, so it really isn't good to focus on one particular thing, again because this can also avoid seeing what needs to be seen now. Lastly, know that within every second of time, multiple energies pass through the earth. Some bring messages, some create havoc, some shine light. When the diviner divines, they can pull these energies forth to come and speak to the seeker. If the oracle is part of a structured system, like the noun, Fa, from the Yoruba tradition, IFA is a divination system used by the Babalawo and or Iyanifa. The oracle is owned by the Yoruba god of wisdom, Orunmila. Here are some posts on IFA for further understanding. The IFA divination process, class equals glossary link greater than IFA oracle or tarot cards, those who have knowledge of using it, cowrie shells, etc. Then wayward entities, earthbound spirits, cannot muddle the reading with false messages. Or if the reader uses their body as an oracle, like myself because I am medium and am advanced, the reader should know how to control wayward spirits or mercenary spirits from coming in to give false messages. My biggest advice to you all in choosing a competent spiritualist is not research or even recommendation, it is trusting your own spirit. You will feel at ease with the diviner, you will be relaxed, even if you came with doubts and expectations. Trust your own spirit and don't mind the hype, or shakara, as Nigerians would say. Winking face. Obara Meji. PS. I do not cast aspersions on anybody who claims to be a spiritualist, because who am I to say who God has gifted? I have suffered to become Obara Meji. My own awakening was hell on earth. I never knew that I could ever be well again after what I had gone through, but here I am, teaching you. So always remember, never judge. Just trust. Trust your own self. The experience of an elderly person is a warning. Noun, Yo Aryuyuba, the Yoruba